Good morning. This is Mona and this is my morning dew. Today, spring 2026. I just had a drop from the tree land on my head. It's a rainy, foggy morning. Monday. How did this happen already? Monday. Memory Monday. The weekend just went by. I feel like I didn't see the weekend. Especially Saturday. Oh, that's right, because I had things I had to do Saturday morning. All right, so we got like a half weekend this weekend. Memory Monday. Oh, what are we going to remember? What are we going to remember? So, what I have on my mind, has to do with, no, I am not. Okay, maybe a little bit, just a little. All right, there you go. She's doing a little bit better. She's still limping a little bit, but doing better. So, it's coming along. All right, Memory Monday. A thought in my head, and I don't know how I'm going to tie this to a memory. Oh, wait, I can absolutely tie this to a memory. When this is a tough one. Okay, so let's get the thought out first. Okay, the thought is that the algorithm doesn't care whether it's positive or negative. Okay, so when you make a comment, it lifts that algorithm up. Think of that. This is actually like a Tips Tuesday moment. And maybe I will continue on this moment tomorrow if I remember. But if not, you get a free Tips Tuesday on Memory Monday. Before you start an argument, before you want to give your opinion that may not be the opinion of that thread or of the presenter, note that any comment you make is going to help the algorithm, which means it gets the message out to more people, right? It gets the message out to more people. So the more attention you give it, you give them more notoriety. Elocution, I'm telling you. All right, notoriety. So what happens is, it's kind of like, the bully in school. The more attention the bully got, the more bullying the bully got. If you did not agree with the bully, and you had your own stand, and everybody always flies to the most popular opinion because this hasn't changed. Okay, I am in my 60s. And I work at an elementary school. And I see it. The same silly stuff that we did over 50 years ago as children has not changed. It's all about the popular person. If the popular person doesn't like that person, you don't like that person either. There are a few things that have changed, which is good. But it's all about who's getting the attention. So there's people that get attention by acting out. They'll say things just to get attention, because guess what negative attention is? It's attention, right? Same thing with the algorithm. It's attention. Now, I'm not saying that, the people on YouTube or the people on Facebook are bullies. I'm not. Okay. And some of them do try to get attention. Some of them like to stir that spot, that pot. Because, see, this is the situation. If they can get people who disagree with them to come back at them, then their followers can gang up on that individual. And then it becomes this mayhem mess that helped his algorithm. Right? So, the one thing that I probably am thinking of the most here in this sense is that my content doesn't stir a lot of pots. I mean, Feisty Friday, I get a little feisty. Okay, I bring out my opinion. Sometimes that opinion is offensive. Sometimes I even offend myself. That's Feisty Friday. I say Feisty Friday for that. There's a lot of people that love Feisty Friday because I just tell it as it is. All right. And sometimes I do it with a little humor. So I do have Feisty Friday. But for the most part, I don't stir the pot. I consider myself a little right of center. I have a lot of friends that are a little left of center. I have a lot of friends that are way over here, but not to the farthest extreme of right. I have some friends that are way over here, but not the furthest level of left. I might even know somebody, but I wouldn't call them friends, that are completely on both ends, right? On the very extreme. So I'm mindful of that when I'm talking with people. Yes, I have my opinion. But I'm not out to start arguments for the health of my algorithm. There was a time that I may have been so insecure about myself that possibly I would have gone down that road. Especially when I was sick and I didn't have a filter in my head and I wasn't thinking clearly. That happens when you're not well. Mentally, spiritually, or physically. Stuff happens. Especially if you're on some kind of medication. That can really mess you up in things you say. And then people don't understand because they haven't been there. They don't know. They don't realize that, okay, maybe it wasn't really you doing all that talking. Maybe it was your mixed up, muddled medicine head. Or your mixed up, muddled spiritual head and heart. Or your mixed up, muddled mental capacity because of illness. But if you've been there, for the most part, sometimes you understand and you have that compassion for that individual going, oh man, I've been there and that ain't pretty. And it's not doing you justice. But are they willing to hear that? Probably not at the moment. Sometimes people don't seek help until they've hit all the walls. When they're so deep in the pit that they just have nowhere else to turn but up. At some point, we all kind of like attention. We all kind of like it. Even the ones that say, I don't want any attention, I'm a hermit, just leave me alone. That draws attention. It does. I just want to be left alone. When you're different, you stand out. It draws attention. So when I say something and I invite people in for a conversation to comment, I don't care whether it's negative or positive. To me, it takes out the human element out of it because I know of that. I'm aware of that. And people will say things out of their hurt and out of their pain or out of their ignorance, and I don't mean stupid. I don't mean stupid. Ignorance just means you don't know enough about that subject. Or maybe you know nothing about that subject. Or maybe you think you know something about that subject. So I invite people in for a conversation because I do want the algorithm. I do want my message out there further. But not for my attention, but for theirs. For them to have a conversation with God. For them to have a conversation maybe with themselves. My hope doing these videos is it helps people. It's the space where I don't care whether I hit a million likes or shares, or if people will watch the video and have a transformational moment in their life concerning anything, whether it's health, whether it's wealth, whether it's relationship, whether it's a coming to Christ moment. If it helps them to live one more day. Because I was going to stop doing these. I was like, I only got a handful of people watching me. It takes some effort. I gotta be mindful that my battery's low. It really is. And yet, I wasn't seeing the bigger picture until I went to a memorial. Until I went to a school function. Until I went to somewhere else. I started going places and people would come up to me and they say, don't stop doing these. Sometimes it's what gets me through the day. And I'm like, not realizing that there's a further impact than my little world. That's the beauty of social media. That's the beauty of Facebook and YouTube. It's all around the world. All around the world. And so you don't know what's impacting you in your immediate area. The people that I know, they're not impacted by this. The people that I see every day, they could care less. Oh, that's Mona's little thing. Yeah, she does this little thing. For the most part, they don't watch it. Some of them do. The ones that are closest, no, they don't really watch it. Every now and then, maybe. So I look at it going, who's it helping? I'm just doing this because I feel like this is what God wants me to do. I don't have a whole lot of opportunity to witness one-on-one to people in my area. I go to work where, for one, there's just no time for that. And two, it is probably frowned upon to talk about religion if anybody should get offended. Now, me and another co-worker, we talk a little bit about our faith and about church, and she's Catholic and I'm Protestant, and then we have another co-worker who is more into the Native American spiritualization, and we don't exclude her, but we don't make her uncomfortable either. If we ever made it seem like we were making it uncomfortable, we would not have the conversation. We're just talking back and forth to each other about stuff. But it's very short conversation. It's not a deep conversation because we don't have time for it. Usually when we first start in the morning and we're waiting for the class to show up, and so we only have a couple of minutes, and so we'll just talk about stuff, especially, when Lent came up, or when Resurrection Sunday's coming up. We're not out to offend, but we don't want to just not evangelize either. The Great Commission. We get caught up in doing all the do's and not doing all the don'ts, and is this going to be enough? And it's not. None of it's enough, because it's not dependent on that. It's dependent on Christ. And I'll talk more about that later as we get closer to Good Friday. But if we can't do the things he told us to do, and one of those is to share the good news, if we can't do that, what does the rest of it mean? And I'll talk a little bit more about that later too, with James and a couple other verses as we get closer to Good Friday. But I just want to let you know that it's unpopular to talk to people about Christ. It's unpopular to talk to people about spiritual things when it concerns the Bible. You can talk spiritual. But man, when you bring the Bible into it, or you bring Jesus into it, then people get very uncomfortable. Well, part of that uncomfortability is the spirits that they entertain. That's who's getting uncomfortable. And then that could cause argument, which draws attention. I keep pretty moderate on here, for the most part. I keep pretty moderate. But at any point that I am to speak truth, the way God wants me to speak it, then I will. See, sometimes Jesus was loving when he spoke to people. Sometimes, not so much. And sometimes he offended people. That's why I have my Feisty Friday. Because if you can offend people, and if they're mature enough to look at themselves to find out why are they offended, then maybe transformation is possible. Before I lose my battery, because it's not saying how much battery I have right now, but I know I didn't have very much, I'm going to tell you to go ahead and go over to YouTube, Mona E. Harrison. like, share, comment here on Facebook and over on YouTube. Again, Mona E. Harrison. You'll see my white hair. You'll see my beautiful face. You'll know you're in the right spot. Go ahead and watch some of the other videos. Absolutely comment, even if you disagree, because it helps the algorithm. I'm here to help others. But I'm also here to bring the good news. And sometimes bringing the good news involves unpopular statements. So, that's where I'm leaving you with today. All right, blessings, everybody. Thank you, Lyle. Thank you, Jackie, for watching. Come and see me tomorrow, Tips Tuesday, and have a great day. Blessings.